Alright guys, welcome back to all three of you that are actually still following on. Last half of Cotton Island here, and that is a barbed wire beanstalk. Okay, Jack and the Beanstalk would have just been so much more awesome with a barbed wire beanstalk. Got the fish back, more flowers, seashells. That is an angry... No, it's a depressed looking flower. That's a buzzsaw parrot, you see them a fair bit. I'm kind of disappointed at the lack of effect it has on enemies. I mean, yes, it destroys them, but... I don't know why. Yeah, the bridge will actually rot out from under you, so clearly the usual State Department maintenance there. Another angry flower. Looks so depressed. You know, like it's horribly, horribly upset over what it, that it couldn't be a rose or something like that. Which may explain why it's throwing seeds at me. Yeah, I'm just going to give up trying to catalog what the fuck is going on with this game, because it was clearly made under the influence of several substances that are illegal everywhere except Tijuana, and even then only by local acceptance. I stand by my belief that this was not made sober. And I'm an expert on not being sober. How did they get his overalls? Who the fuck steals someone's overalls and then runs it up a flagpole? Frat boys, that's who. And yes, they are making a fool out of Plok. Not that it's hard, because, he's a walking bundle of plasticine that throws limbs at people. This is not, prime difficulty for taking the piss out of. Another power-up. This is the... I love this power-up. This is the flamethrower power-up. Something all games should have. More of. If they've already got them, they should have even more of it. Takes out enemies really fast. You've got to notice the... I think they're razor discs down there. They will seriously fuck you up if you land on them. Kind of like real life. But yeah, the flamethrower is just grotesquely overpowered for taking out enemies. The timer on it's not actually limited by how much you use either. And that little berry thing on the plant I just walked past is actually a health recovery. Didn't figure I'd need it, so I don't usually bother catching. You can actually attack them to make them bigger. Which will, restore more health unless you happen to destroy it by mistake. Didn't actually remember the power-up lasting that long, and I can't actually read what's on that flag, so, make up something suitably offensive. To go with those screams right there, which I hope were screams and not anything else. Anyway, last regular stage of the first island. It's kind of odd that the entire first island takes about as long as a stage or two of any of the other islands. And we're back to them throwing logs at me for no apparent reason. I don't know what I did to, offend the god of lumber, or... and where they're getting so many goddamn logs on what looks to be, a beach island. You wouldn't expect there to be too many trees on an island that is mostly sand and grass. But apparently, actually this might be why. The entire island is nothing but sand and grass, because they chop down every last fucking tree to throw at me. Something I don't really approve of. Being crushed by giant rolling logs. I'm not a Canadian lumberjack. I don't want anything to do with these bloody things. But the game insists on throwing them at me anyway. Back to the regular enemies. Really not a threat. You almost feel sorry for them. They just kind of hop stupidly forward into oblivion like, I don't know, some sort of retarded suicide bomber. Yes. Low joke, not particularly funny. I'm just going to let this sort of speak for itself for a little bit. Kind of helpful with the arrows in the seashells, so, and the big massive drops, which should have shattered every bone in Plok's body if he had any bones. CSIRO boneless protagonist, I guess. And a pirate flag. His first boss battle of the game. The Bobbins brothers, and okay, not Bobbitt brothers, that's somewhat entirely different. And that's much more terrifying. I actually got a dialogue for once. And those mouths are just terrifying. They are nothing but a goddamn neck with teeth. And they're wearing bow ties. Or those vests, I can't actually tell. The boss battles in this game, there's really not a lot of strategy to them. You just throw shit at things until they die. Or at least in this particular boss fight. So they seem to be throwing toenails at me as well, which is kind of unnerving. Yeah, actually, I'm not actually bothering to try and perfect. The boss fights are too goddamn, annoying. Now the flag is floating by itself. And this just gets weirder and fucking weirder. And yes, they actually called them Plok continues. I just prefer to call them Plok continues because it doesn't sound quite as stupid. How much of a narcissist do you have to have your own image planted on a flag all over your own island? When we figure that out, we'll know what Plok is. Poor naive Plok. The game couldn't possibly be that short. Why does it take an entire bloody night to cross that little, water? Because Plok is lazy, that's why. And naive, like I've already said. And now there are flea flags everywhere, which denotes us getting onto the second island and a slight change in gameplay. Yes, Plok, very naive. And he means that.